have Magistrate Scott Poston's going to lead us in a prayer, and then we'll have the pledge to the flag.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this day and the many blessings that you have given us in life. Father, I just pray that you'll be with this group up here today, Father, as we conduct the business of the county. Father, as always, be with the law enforcement, the first responders, and Father, and also the armed forces. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, gentlemen, before we get into business, there's a young lady here I want to introduce and let her come up. You could come up. And they might have a question for you. We might need to get your face on the camera and you can answer in the microphone. But yeah. So this is Michaela McLean. She's our new administrative assistant at the Planning and Zoning Office. And I understand, as Emily spent her last week with her and Sydney's been over there with her son, that Michaela is doing an outstanding job. And so I did want to introduce you to all. These are all the magistrates.
Okay.
I'll let each one of them tell you their name, and then if they have a question for you.
I'm Marty Chandler, East Magistrate. I don't really have any questions, but if there's anything I can do to help you, I'll be glad to.
I'm Jeff Burr, West Magistrate.
Scott Poston, North Magistrate.
Byron Thurman, we've met.
We have.
Sam Phillips, I'm the county attorney. Congratulations or condolences, whichever's more appropriate.
Well, tell him how much fun it's been, so he'll know it's congratulations.
Well, good. I'm glad. Congratulations.
No, so we just wanted all these guys to meet you, and we're glad to have you, and you are doing a great job. We
Well,
thank
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for giving it a try. All right.
Thank you.
Now, you're welcome to stay if you want to, because Sydney, I'm sure, can handle it, but you're welcome to go back down and not have all the fun.
So the coffee wasn't for us. She opened the door for me and Bob. We were coming in, and she had this bunch of coffee, and so all these fancy coffees, but it wasn't for us, huh?
Oh, that was Rachel.
Oh, Rachel?
I it for you.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
We do look similar, though.
Thank you, Michaela. All right. Minutes of our July 18th regular fiscal court meeting. If you reviewed those, we need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Marty.
Second.
Second by Jeffrey. Any question, discussion, changes? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is to approve the second reading and final passage of ordinance number 110.9. This is regarding the magisterial district reapportionment. We had the first reading already. We need a motion and a second for second reading and final passage.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Myron and a second by Marty. So Pam will do a roll call.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Jeffrey Burr,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes.
And I will add, I need everybody's signature on this, so don't leave until you've signed the ordinance, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Next is to approve second reading and final passage of ordinance number 530.61. This is regarding the reduction of speed limits on certain county roads that we had the list of roads on. I think all of the roads are named in the ordinance also.
So moved.
Got a motion by Jeffrey,
Second.
second by Scott. Any question or discussion? Pam, we'll have a roll call on that too, please.
Jeffrey Burr,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next, gentlemen, if y'all read over this next item here, the good folks at Stites and Harbison have suggested that we adopt this policy here. It is for the ARPA money, state and local fund procurement policy. If y'all recall, there was a change in the legislation where that anything, it went from anything being 30,000 or less, did not have to be bid, to 40,000 and less. Now, I don't know that we'll have any expenditures under 40,000 with the ARPA, but since we've hired them or contracted with them to advise us, their advice was that we at least adopt this policy, so if we
Right.
did do something with the ARPA funding that was under that threshold, we would have the ability to proceed on. So we just need a motion and a second to adopt this procurement policy, and I don't know that I have to sign it, but we'll make part of that motion to authorize the county judge to sign it if necessary.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any other question, discussion? Counselor, any thoughts?
Yeah, you hired them to make recommendations, probably be a good idea to do what they suggest you do.
recommended?
Yeah, all right, sounds good. All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We did overlook this in July. Not that we were intentionally overlooking it, we just didn't really think about it. But I need someone that's willing to make a motion and someone that's willing to second a motion that we reappoint Nicole Law to the position of county treasurer for a 4-year term.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Marty and a second by Scott.
That didn't take long.
Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? There you go, Nicole.
4 more.
One more.
Once more, congratulations
You
or
gotta stay.
condolences.
4 more.
All right, Counselor, on this next one, do we need to do the resolution as one motion and then the agreement as a different motion?
Probably was smarter that way, or cleaner.
Okay. So what we have is the fiscal year 23-24 rural secondary flex funds, and this is to receive $176,908 for some work that'll be done on Elliott Road and Kenny Perry Drive. And so we need a resolution stating that the court will adopt this agreement and that we actually own the roads that we say we're going to work on. So I need a motion and a second to authorize the resolution or to adopt the resolution and authorize the county judge to sign it.
So moved.
Got a motion by Jeffrey,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion on that? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Then the agreement that we have to enter into with the state to do these funds, we need a motion and a second to authorize entering into this agreement and authorize the county judge to sign the agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion there? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, next is the P&Z printer and lease quote. This is different than the printer that they currently have. This is a request that's been made to actually have a machine that can print or reproduce like blueprint-sized documents, because we get a lot of people now, and especially as we're moving more toward electronic filing, that will send a PDF file of their blueprint or their drawing or their development plan, and needing the ability to actually print it out on a 2-scale sheet, and that lease would be at the rate of $128 per month. But I think, Nicole, we can work that into the planning and zoning equipment budget.
Who buys the ink?
We'll have to buy the
Okay.
ink. Yeah, this is just a lease on the equipment, but we'll have to furnish the ink.
Now, this will be just for the use of that office. It won't be like for a contractor that comes
No,
in here.
no. Contractor won't be able to come in
Okay.
and say, I need 5 sets of my blueprints. No, this will just be for internal use only.
So moved.
All right, so we got a motion by Scott. Oh, and part of the motion needs to be to authorize the county judge to sign the agreement of the lease agreement. You good with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Scott's got the motion, Jeffrey second. Any question or discussion?
Yeah, city funds half of this, correct?
Yeah, so the way, yes. Yeah, technically, yes, because.
I didn't know if we
What-
needed to include,
Only if there's a deficit. So the planning and zoning
okay.
fees, if the fees and things that come into the planning and zoning office cover all of the expenses, then nothing. But if there's a shortfall in any month, we just bill the county for 50% of that shortfall.
the only reason I asked, I didn't know if we needed to just say,
Because
Tell the city we're
we'll
gonna do this.
we make the decision, and then
Okay.
we just bill them for 50% of any shortfall that may
Okay.
occur. And I don't think, we've not really experienced a lot of that, have we? No. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Any other questions? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Gentlemen, there's a couple of things that are not on the agenda list, but they are on your portal. The employee resolutions, if y'all see those, you can pull them up. One is Employee Resolution 2023-08-01 EMP-PW. This is for an open, to authorize the hiring for this individual in this open position in the Public Works Department.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And then the next one just came about yesterday, but we got it on the portal. Hopefully y'all took a glance at it either last night or this morning, but you can pull it up. It's the one, Employee Resolution 2023-08-01 EMP-FSFR. And it's for a part-time position. The chief and I talked about it being temporary because we made a temporary classification in our admin code, but Sean is having to go back and forth with the doctor, and we don't know really, one doctor suggested surgery for him. We don't know what's going to happen there. But then you also have vacations, holidays where you need somebody that can actually come and fill in. So this was actually for a part-time position. So we need a motion and a second to authorize this employee resolution.
So moved.
Got a motion by Jeffrey,
Second.
second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right. Now, my most least favorite part of the whole meeting is discussing our 23 tax rates. So as you see the Department for Local Government calculations, they show the compensating rate at 9.6. They show the compensating +4, which for the last 3 tax years, their compensating +4 has only been 3 points. So I'm not sure what their +4 really is, because years ago, their +4 was actually 4 points difference, and now their +4 for the last 3 tax rates have been 3 points difference. So, but at any rate, y'all see, obviously, when we put the budget together, we budgeted property tax revenue at 1.7 million, which would be based on our current 10 cents. You see the compensating rate at 9.6 generates approximately just shy of 1.6, and then their +4, which is technically just 9.9, would generate just a tick over 1.6. I had an interesting conversation with the PVA too, because one concern is like we're seeing growth and we're seeing property values up. If we start to see an economy turn bad and property values decline, so the Department for Local Government does this calculation to try to compensate for equal dollar amounts year over year. So as Allison described it, if those property values were to take kind of a steep decline, our compensating rate calculated by DLG could probably go up significantly. So, and obviously, if you take the compensating rate, you have to do nothing other than we vote to do it. If you take the compensating plus 4, we do have to have a public hearing. If we choose to leave our tax rate unchanged at 10 cents, we have to have a public hearing, and then if a citizen were so inclined to get a petition together and have a certain percentage of voters vote, they could try to recall that 1/10 of a cent. So, I don't know. Here would be my suggestion to the court, and then I'll leave this ball in you guys' court for any discussion. My thinking is, at the very least, we should take the compensating plus 4. If not, just leave the rate unchanged at 10 cents. But I'm dropping this ball in your court with that information.
I think we ought to consider leaving the tax rate the same. We've got the health department that we've got to think about in this calculation. That's what, 2.2?
2.25, yeah.
It's coming out of that 10 cents. But I would agree, I won't squabble over 1/10 of a percent.
Yeah,
So you're saying leave it at 10? Well, I've sat up here a long time. I've seen, when you see this happen where compensating plus 4 is actually a lower tax rate, that's a sign of a really good economy. That there's lots of buildings going on, and there's lots of value added to the community, and it's a sign of good. It's a lot better than seeing it the other way when compensating, doesn't even make it up. So when you can actually gain more taxes and lower rates, then that's a sign of things are going good. But I'm fine with leaving it at the 10.
I'm leaving this in y'all's court. I'm good. I'm really good either way.
I hate to see it drop under 10 myself. 9.9, like mine, I'm not going to fuss and argue over it.
Now, and one thing to bear in mind, too, that 10% is about $60,000. That's about where we were at, and when we done our budget for 23-24, we were about 60,000
right.
to the good.
Yeah.
And then also, even if the economy keeps moving forward, which we hope it does, we hope we continue to see growth, whatever we set that rate at will be the basis for the calculations for the next year for DLG too. So.
I'm good with the 10 cents too. I just don't want a big squabble, big outboard just because it's 9.9.
Yeah.
People coming up here, but 10's, but 10 cents is good for me.
I'm going to, whichever way y'all make a motion in a second, I'm going to vote in favor of either one of them.
10th of a percent ain't, it's.
I will move to leave the tax rate at 10 cents.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to leave our tax rate unchanged at 10 cents by Marty, a second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record reflect it was a unanimous vote by the court.
Now, do we have to set a public hearing?
We will have to establish a public hearing, and we'll have to advertise that. Do we have time to advertise that before our, let's see, this is the 1st, 8th, the 15th. We don't have time to advertise before the 15th, so it'll have to be our first meeting in September. Now, I don't know that day.
Is this going to be our first reading of the ordinance?
Yeah, so yes, we need to go back. You're right. Thank you. Okay, so we do actually have to set the... Yeah, we'll scrabble all this because we're actually going to have roll call. Because we do have to set the tax rate by ordinance. That ordinance number would be 220.252. And this would establish that the county's general fund tax rate would remain unchanged at 10 cents. So, Marty, are you good to make that motion?
Yes.
Scott, you're good to second that motion? So Pam, you're right, we will have to have a roll call on the tax rate ordinance.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Jeffrey Burr,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Now the record can really reflect that it was unanimous.
She's thinking about something.
Do we have to authorize, if we're going to do a hearing, do I need to, Sam, do you, I can't recall.
No, you
We just put it on the
We just-
agenda.
okay.
put it on the
Okay.
agenda, you got to have a public hearing,
Okay,
and
We'll have to publish it in the
I will
paper.
have
Yeah,
the,
all right. Thank you.
all right.
The-
Thank you.
the
No,
public
you're
hearing.
good.
I think our first our first meeting would be the 5th of September, the day after Labor Day, so I would guess that would when you schedule your public hearing. Right.
I mean, I think as long as if we have the second reading by that meeting, I think we're in time
I think you can have your public hearing and then conclude it,
yeah,
and then
Have
you
the second reading.
have the second reading.
yeah. All right, very good. All right, gentlemen, budget transfers, if you had an opportunity to review those, we need a motion and a second to approve those budget transfers.
Mason, what is the ARPA funds, that transpire, what is that?
That
Now,
was
what's
our
that for?
half of the change order on the equipment out there.
yeah.
It was
Okay,
$75,000, and this was our half.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Cash transfers to cash, and we have budget transfers to the line item appropriation from the ARPA fund to the general fund. First, White's and Harvest.
That's why
So
we
moved.
reappoint her as county treasurer. Did you say so moved?
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Marty. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Now, the cash transfer is kind of a follow-up to that. It is the moving of the $32,750 from the ARPA fund to the general fund, so we're able to expend it.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Jeffrey. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? And then bills and claims, we'd need a motion and a second to approve the bills and claims as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, moving to reports. Notice on your portal, there's a note from Chamber Director Steve Thurman. I just put that on the portal so y'all can see it. It may be on there sideways. It's probably because I scanned it in that way. But he was very appreciative, Bill, of what you've been able to do and the help that you've given them. And I just wanted the magistrates to see that note. Don't forget, those of you that are going to the Hometown Harvest Dinner, it's this Friday evening. Next Tuesday, the 8th, from 7 in the morning to 9 in the morning is the Chamber Eye Opener. It's over at the new WFKN location right here on Kentucky Street. They're having the Chamber Eye Opener. And then the following day, Wednesday the 9th, at 10 a.m. is ribbon cutting at the Spring Hill Suites at Kentucky Downs, the Mint Gaming Hall. Also, today is the Industrial Authority Golf Scramble, so I've got to go out there and award all the winners their trophies and money or
You're
whatever.
not playing?
They don't want me playing. Believe me, no one wants me on their golf team.
They might want you playing so you make the other people look better.
I would definitely make the rest of them look better. And that's no doubt. So, and go out there and, let all the industry folks know that we appreciate them being here. And just so y'all are aware, We done the agreement on the Stone Givens part to do the same 70-30 split to help fund the industrial authority. The city's kind of balking on theirs at the moment, so we're having to kind of work through that. Yeah. All right, that's what I've got. Myron, you have anything?
One thing, I don't know if it's countywide, but our trash pickup is terrible. I think we need to probably look at that contract and see what their obligations are. Maybe they need to be refreshed what their obligations are. But we've got parts of the South out here that's been 2 weeks, no trash pickup.
Mine's supposed to have been yesterday, and it wasn't picked up yesterday, it's still there this morning.
I've been saying all along, I will not vote on another contract that there's not a clause in there. If they don't pick the trash up, they don't get paid.
Totally agree.
Because, I've talked to people that's called and told them, hey, you didn't pick my trash up, I'm not gonna pay you. And they'll tell them, well, if you don't pay us, we're not gonna pick your trash up. So, I know it's not, I don't know what, $10 a month or something, but if they've got, 5,000 household or 5,000 pickups and they don't miss them for a week, well, that's a whole lot of money that they're getting for nothing. And I think there needs to be a clause in the contract that if they don't pick your trash up for whatever reason, they can't help the weather, but neither can the homeowner. But if they don't provide the service, they shouldn't get paid.
And I know they said the last time they was up here, they said that if they didn't pick it up one week, they'd pick it up the next week, just lay it on the side. They don't pick it up on the side. They just take the can and leave the bag on the side. So.
I agree. They just had it increased also, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Counselor, what
do we do, Counselor?
I
Because
think
they've already been given 2 notices.
basically look at the contract and see, it's a 5-year contract?
I think the current one we have ends June 30th of 26.
Well, the term is 5 years.
Right, and I think we're still
About halfway through it.
2.5 years left on it.
Yeah, I think basically, if you're looking at to see about what remedies are, and then, tell them it's time to be looking at our remedies here,
The tough thing would be is can we even get another bidder if we put it out to bid? And I'm not sure we can, but I think to Marty's point, the thing we could do is negotiate into the contract a performance clause that might help them a little bit.
That's fine, but if there's already a contract, renegotiating,
my question would be, are they in breach of contract?
well,
Because it says they have weekly pickup.
Yeah.
And, obviously, if there's force majeure, act of God stuff, a bad winter storm comes through and they can't do it, that's one thing, but, we haven't had one of those
Not in
here.
the last 2 weeks when they've.
No, not quite some time. My point is, there's not been anything like an act of God to prohibit that sort of thing. And basically, you look and make sure, you got to review the contract, see if there's, what constitutes a breach and what the remedies are. And I'm not going to lie, it's been probably a couple of years since I've looked at the contract, and I've slept since then. So probably need to review the contract and see what it says.
Do you have a copy of it?
Buried somewhere. I'm not going to lie. Every couple of years, I off docket stuff and I put it in storage. So I probably don't have it now handy where I can get it. But if you would send it to me, I'll happily look at it.
Would you mind to take a review and bring us a report to the next court meeting?
I'll do my doggonedest.
All right, that would be wonderful. Myron, is that it?
Yeah.
Scott?
I'm good.
Jeffrey?
Got a question.
Okay.
You got, you sent us, or gave us a piece of paper about the new county clerk building, about the inside. Have you got any new updates on how far along it is? What's going on?
Yeah, we met with them last week or week before. Last Wednesday. There were a few revisions and changes that the clerk and the PVA wanted to kind of revise and do. And they said they should have those changes back to us in, what, a couple of weeks?
For the inside part?
For the inside part.
What about the outside part?
They have a preliminary drawing that's pretty nice looking, pretty nice brick, kind of, not really, I wouldn't say as fancy as the Justice Center, but kind of similar to the way the Justice Center looks.
And hopefully better.
Hopefully it looks better.
Yeah.
I'm there with you, Sam.
I'm
So I
sorry.
didn't know- I didn't know
I
if he
better
was
be
gonna
careful,
be
because if
able
I
to
get
talk to
started, it
us.
will go a while.
Once we get kind of the plan, like, okay, here's what's going to happen, yeah.
Bill, did you say geothermal? Well, what's that for? They're not putting geothermal in there.
I don't think it was geothermal, I think it was just a geotech. They're doing,
Well, the geothermal listed, but so I just figured it was something they had to do in
Yeah.
the process. So they were gonna start doing some measuring and doing two things they were gonna do.
I think it's-
And then the geotech,
yeah, I think that's just determining if there's a sinkhole or a cave
Oh,
underneath.
okay.
Like, are we, yeah, yeah. Or are we going to build it and it's going to collapse down into the ground?
Might need a basement instead of two-story.
Might need a two-story basement.
they were actually gonna drill some core.
Well, are they gonna, what about the water retention coming off like all the buildings, like off of Leach's building, downtown, all that? Are they,
They're gonna take care of all that.
They're gonna route that over to the basement of the
the
Justice.
Justice Center where they already got pumps?
I think they're gonna start the footprint and after we finalize the footprint, then they'll start applying it to the location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't heard nothing. I
Yeah,
was just
well,
wondering.
they're still working through kind of preliminary drawings to get everything together, so it's not really a lot to report on.
I'm done.
All right, Marty?
I was out at the park yesterday. They're coming along with their dog park that they're working on. They got some straw from me to sow that area down, and also hopefully before long they'll have that project completed. I was amazed at how many people asked about that since I've been in office, but a lot of people live in town and have no place to take their animals, so.
Yeah, true. Counselor?
No report.
Matt, any info from the sheriff's office?
No, sir.
You don't want to get your pretty face on camera up here?
I was told I don't say anything.
Sheriff's a pretty wise man. Jayla, you have anything?
Some of this is just more of a report. We got a Mid-America contract, which is our dental part of our medical, comes out of our cost pool. I need you to sign that. They did do a little increase from, I think it was like $2,200, what we've been paying, to $2,400. So Sam's aware of it. He has overlooked this contract and
Looked over, not overlooked.
looked over, I'm sorry, looked over the contract.
There's a big difference.
No, that's just for the jail part of the,
I want to make sure we're clear about that.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what are we overlooking?
we're not overlooking anything, sir.
Okay, what is the contract for again?
It's the dental part of the medical contract for the inmates.
Okay,
So I need you to sign it.
and you have looked it over and it's all within reason?
I have looked over it.
Okay, all right.
Do they have a dentist that comes to the jail?
I
Or do
have
you
not
somebody take-
overlooked
you have to
it.
take them somewhere?
Well,
Okay.
unless it's an emergency, if it's an emergency, we have to take them. Because you don't want somebody, your teeth, ties to your heart and infection and all
Oh, I
that stuff.
understand.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if you
That's
had
that's
somebody-
the only time that we do that. We have had several come in and say, well, we're gonna have to take them and get their new veneers put on and all this stuff. That don't happen, so.
I didn't know, I mean, if abscess tooth or something, if you had
Abscess will
dentist.
treat it and monitor it. If it gets to where it gets out of hand, then we'll send them out.
I didn't know if you had a local dentist, one particular you dealt with, or if you just called and said, hey, who will get in and whatever.
No, just unless it's emergency, that's the
Okay.
only time they go out.
All right.
I did, another thing, I did turn in our pay the way we budgeted. So I just want y'all to know that. The life jacket things, they are built. They are marked. We had to call for a dig or a Bob Palmer. Yeah, the 811. To make sure we weren't going to set it on some
Right.
lines or whatever. The ground is hard as a rock. We're going to try to get a digger, auger, to dig the holes, but they're ready to go up. What else was it? Oh, Mason and I had to inform the court, Mason and I had a conversation last week. We had a unit go down on the building. It's a big unit that controls several different areas in the building, AC unit. One of the compressors went out of it. It's got twin compressors. One of them went out of it. The other one is working double time. And you know in this heat, it's not gonna last. So Joe Mark got some bids to put a compressor in, was gonna be what,
Six feet. You told me to do one compressor was 6,000,
Yeah.
or replace the whole unit was 12.
was 12 for a
And-
brand new unit.
So, and I said, Joe Martin Bill will get together and.
Well, I think all four of us are
And
on the same
everybody, I mean,
page.
it makes no sense to put a $6,000 compressor in an old unit.
And you still got another compressor that can go out anytime,
Yeah.
so Mason and I, Bill, Joe Mark, we all agreed. I don't know if that needs to be up for a vote, but we did not budget for something like that, and I don't know how we need to handle it.
Well, I mean, it'll pull somewhere from some kind of maintenance line, can't it?
It's 12,000.
That's why you're the treasurer.
Can we use ARPA?
There's the condolences right there.
Can we use the
Sam.
ARPA
Yeah.
money for that?
I was sitting back here thinking the same thing. Can we pull any from the ARPA money for something like that?
I mean, that'd be a question for Compass and Stites and Harbison, but possibly. But I mean, worst case scenario is you pull the $12,000 out of surplus and pay it. But I mean, why? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense to put a $6,000 new compressor in an old unit. How old is that unit, Bill? Do you know?
They were all put on in, was it 2012? Yeah, so it'd been 2012, 2013, you voted, he voted on
So
it. 'cause
11,
we-
I mean,
we
it
did every
makes
one
no
of them.
sense to put a $6,000 compressor in an 11-year-old heat and air unit, which,
Well, I agree 100%. I just asked if
Yeah.
you pull
They
it
go
out.
out, they go out every 12 years.
I think it was,
I mean,
I think it was
it's just about living
2012 or
its life.
2013, because remember, we had that $1,000 unit that sat right in the middle of the building?
Right. Do we need that on the motion?
well, I think we're going to need two motions here. One, let's back up. I need a motion to authorize this new agreement with Mid-America Health
Correct.
at the new rate of $2,400,
Yes. It's
beginning,
$2,400 a visit.
$2,400 per
And
visit.
I think it's
Each time our staff visit, yeah, so, and that
It's you.
goes, and it was 2,200 previously?
right.
So I need a motion and a second to authorize this agreement with Mid-America Health to provide the dental services to the jail at the new rate of $2,400.
I will tell you on this, it will come out of our cost pool. If we exceed on that with the cost pool, we can subsidize it with the commissary difference.
At any rate, I need a motion and a second to authorize this agreement and authorize the county judge to sign it.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty, second by Jeffrey. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? And obviously, I mean, the $12,000 is under the bid threshold, so it ain't like it has to be put to bid or any of that kind of thing.
Most all of them are going to be around
But I guess to be the cleanest would be to have a motion in a second to authorize the purchase of a new unit at the jail at a cost of $12,000.
Do we need that to be on Bill authorizing him, or, I'm just saying, because I'll have to get a PO, or I don't know how that.
Yeah, we'll just get a PO and we'll just need to get a PO and get it ordered.
And we'll do that in general fund, other county.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just need a motion and a second to purchase this heat and air equipment.
So,
Motion by Marty, second by Scott. Any question, discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries too.
you was talking about trying to get an auger to dig the hole. Do we have one of those at your department, Bobby? Okay,
We need one for him.
well, I probably can talk to somebody that can do that.
Well, ground's hard to rock right now.
Yeah.
And of course, I know y'all want that stuff up. We got it ready to go up. All we gotta do is dig the holes and just tilt it up, set it in, concrete it, and we've got that project done. And I think there's another one that goes out in your neck of the woods, is that correct?
I think we were doing one on Barnes School.
Yeah. One goes
Yeah.
out there. And
You
one-
may actually be digging in Rock Elm Barn School.
That's true.
Yeah. May or try to find a place.
But the guys are ready to go.
Get a
If you-
jackhammer.
if You want us to wait on notification from you, or?
I'll holler at you here after court meeting.
Okay.
I'll make a phone call, see if I can get somebody to go out there and do it after the.
If we got any local guys that's got a digger truck,
I think I know somebody's got one on skid steer.
that would work too.
That's the reason I say I think I can make a phone
All right.
call.
Very
Thank you,
good.
gentlemen.
Very good. Bob, anything with emergency management?
You just covered it.
Bill, maintenance? Bobby Road? Chief, I know you got something.
Hope it's
Well, while he's coming up here, Bob, what about the markers you were gonna put on the creeks? What's the status on that?
You talking to me?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I don't know nothing about that. We gotta get the prices for them and then find somebody that can put them up.
okay.
The chief and I talked yesterday, and that talk prompted the conversation that we're going to have right now. And that's why it's not on the agenda or any information, because we didn't have any of this conversation until yesterday.
Yeah, this happened, I don't know, I put all this together about 3 o'clock yesterday, so I apologize for the late notice, but, so, obviously, you guys are aware, we lost a fire truck in a wreck, so we're trying to figure out our the best way to move forward. We were looking at, obviously purchasing the new truck, so we went back, if you guys remember, we started in last year's budget where we put together like a 30-year plan on replacement vehicles. So a new tanker would be in our next fiscal year budget anyway. So I'm looking at go ahead and just maybe moving that up this year, flip-flopping them. The money may not be there because where we had it built up, so we may have to do a little maneuver in there on that. But just to make you aware, so again, when we put together that plan, that was about 16 months ago. And of course, the prices of everything have just skyrocketed. I met yesterday to just kind of informally spec a truck, no obligation, just to get some numbers to work with. But I'd say we're going to be right about the $500,000 mark to replace this truck with on the new one. So the problem, the big problem there too is they are on the international, so if we build it like on a Freightliner chassis, these are, I think, 730-day build times or something, and then the international is 1,000. So we ordered it today. We're still looking very best at 2 years.
Maybe 3.
Yeah, maybe 3, just depending on, where all this is back. So it's just too long for us to have to go without this other tanker. So we were looking at using the insurance money whenever all that gets settled, and replacing it with something that will meet as close to the need as we can get it. We're not going to find that exact truck, They are, because of the economy and the lead times and everybody's just, they're reinvesting in their used trucks where they were selling them. They're just fixing them and keeping them going. So they're demand is high and supply is low. So that obviously raises the price of those as well. Where I'm going with all this is I did find a truck, and it is located on Gov Deals. It's out in Missouri, that will closely get us by to what we need. But because of and I didn't know that we were going through the procurement policy, and I was talking to the judge about it yesterday and all. And apparently we're limited to like $40,000 unless there's an emergency. So he contacted some folks who said, hey, here's what you need to do. So I've got you a letter saying that basically there was a few things that needed in there, how many road miles and the fact that it is an emergency situation that would allow the court to bypass that procurement where we can actually bid on a vehicle more than $40,000. So I found a sister truck to this one as well as in Alabama, just sitting on a lot, and it's for, I think they've got it listed for like $129. So what I'm asking, I think that's on the high end for probably what that truck is, but I'm asking for a bid, being able to bid on this vehicle up to a point. So, and I was thinking about that $100,000 mark. There is a 12.5% buyer's premium, so if we bid it up to like $89,000, that would put it at $100,000 and $125. So
This is a used vehicle.
what now?
Is this a used?
Oh yes, this is a.
How much was our truck insured for? One in an accident.
How much was it?
What was the insured value of that truck?
So the value of it, we had it at $90,000 for the truck itself. When we do an assessment on those every year, so we go through, look at them, and again, I go to some of these websites and compare and say, hey, what are these trucks available for today that are similar? So we're not doing full replacement value. We're doing, hey, if I need to replace this truck as is, here's what it is. So I took that, we put 3 or 4 of them, and that's how we do our assessments on those. So actually, when we started, it was valued at 70, and we upped it to 90, just because that's what they were going for, just steady up and up on those. So, now there will be some, and I talked to Nicole about this yesterday. She gave me the contact of the guy I need to talk to. But so when we did that, when I first took over as chief, we had that insurance guy come down, and we set in a little class basically on all that. And he did say, hey, you want to ballpark it as close as you can, but if there's monies either way, we work with you to, we want to make sure you're whole. And I said, okay. So I'm going to call him out on that. But then the equipment and stuff, all that kind of remains to be seen. We're not able to do anything with the truck at the moment, so I can't really say this is lost or this is not, because we don't have access to it. So there will be potentially a supplemental check for some more equipment that's covered. So it'll go up some.
Is the equipment insured separately from the truck?
It is. Basically, if it's not bolted on, then it's kind of considered our equipment. But if it's, there are some things that come with the truck that, they're insured under the truck.
So where all this come from is, of course, obviously the chief came in yesterday and say, hey, what would I need to do to be able to bid on this truck? And I'm like, well, the problem's going to be that the threshold, this truck's going to be more than $40,000. Because the way that you have to do that, if you're above $40,000, you do not have to bid it if it's professional services such as legal work, engineering work, architectural work, all those things that are considered legal or professional services do not technically have to be bid. Or if you're buying above $40,000 off of state contract pricing, you don't have to bid. But then I said, and it's no slight to our county attorney, but I called Rich Ornstein and I said, Rich, what do you do? How do these counties do this? on this gov deals, if there's something you bid on. And he said, well, in the instance of a fire truck that you've lost, he said, if your fire chief can put together information that talks about the need for that truck, how long it would take to replace it if you were to buy a new one, how many road miles you're serving, and what that kind of impact that could have on the community while you're waiting. And we were thinking maybe 1 to 2 years. You're saying 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 700-day,
He said, then you could,
720 or something.
then you could declare an emergency to exist, which also alleviates you from the procurement process. So,
Basically, if you can document it's an actual emergency,
Yep.
you have an exemption to the requirement. Obviously, you can't no one's going to realistically expect you to wait 2 to 3 years to replace a truck that you need.
and that's why he said if the fire chief could have a letter documenting road miles, time, the time frame on getting a new truck, then the court could actually vote to set a maximum dollar amount to allow the chief to bid.
Declare emergency.
Declare an emergency.
And then allow the chief.
So this truck you're wanting to bid on, is it very comparable to what we had?
It is close, the one we had was a 2,000 gallon, carried 2,000 gallons. This one carries 1,500. But I'm not finding anything that's been a 2,000. 1,500s are about, is the bulk of them, of what we're finding. What I do like about this particular truck is it does have it's got 3 points to dump off of, and so they're high capacity dumps so that you can dump quickly and get the water off so that truck can move on and go get more water. So it works well in a shuttling operation, and that's why the tankers, that's why we designed those the way that we did, was just for the efficiency of loading and unloading. So can't really make up time by driving up and down the road, but you can make it up by loading and unloading.
So there's another truck similar to this one in Alabama
There is,
for 129.
yes.
Okay. So if we set the max at 100,000 on this one,
Well,
and you
so-
don't get it, are you gonna try to go buy the one for
Well,
129?
I don't know that the one in Alabama, I could, it's about 3 hours away. I could lay eyes on it. This one's a little over 6 on there, but that's why I wasn't really as comfortable about. I don't like buying stuff sight unseen. So I don't know that 100% that I'm necessarily going to buy this truck. We're still shopping, but this one came up, and but the reason that I came today was because it actually ends this week, and I just wanted to have the ability to watch it and see, if it's going to go crazy cheap. I wanted to be able to
Where's
bid
the
on
bid
it.
at currently on it? Do you have that?
It's not. It hasn't met a reserve on it, but there's no bids on it yet. So I reached out to them by email to try to, it's brokered, so I was trying to get in contact with the actual owner just to get a little bit more information on it. But from what I gather, they just took it out of service because it was part of their normal service schedule. It was part of their replacement fleet. Time came and it purged out, so there's nothing wrong with it, but.
The one in Alabama and that one is same year model, same
Yeah, it's, for
everything?
everything I can tell, they are pretty well identical.
The reason I asked that is if we set this at 100,000, he don't get it. If it's another 2 weeks or a month, he's gonna come back and the truck's gonna be more. So my thinking is go ahead and set the amount high enough that he could, if he don't get this on bid, he can buy one from somewhere else.
Well, yeah, and that's fine. I mean, the purpose of today was basically just to be able to even do the bid process, because that wasn't even on the table until we.
So obviously, we don't know what the reserve is on that truck. I mean, you might buy it for 60,000.
That's the thing. That's why I didn't want my hands tied at 40 if I'm sitting there watching and it just happens to go crazy cheap and we can't even bid on it, so.
Well, my thing is, I just didn't want, we need a fire truck.
Yeah, we do.
And,
So if we get this one, are we still going to get
Yes.
the other one too?
You'll put in the order next year for the one for two,
But see,
3 years.
we're just replacing one that got totaled. It doesn't have any effect or impact on the
plan.
rotation schedule
So-
of moving vehicles out.
And
Yep.
the insurance will cover
The bulk of this
yeah,
one,
most, if not all, of
Yeah.
this truck.
So-
eventually, whenever
Yeah.
that all gets settled.
Yeah, because we were due to get a brush truck this year, and again, I don't know, we do need a brush truck, but we need the tanker worse, I feel.
But you're not gonna get
So-
another tanker, this here will replace that one. Next year, you'll get the brush truck. You're not gonna.
If
Good question.
what I'm thinking is we're gonna do the
You're gonna get
tanker.
another
We
tanker,
will go ahead and try to
And
order,
then,
we're gonna order a new tanker this year. If we can get, if the money is there in the budget, we will get it.
Okay.
And then, because we're still looking at 2 years at
Mm-hmm.
best before we receive it. So then, I mean, again, all we're doing is replacing the one that was wrecked, so our process is still
Then
gonna
get
be
rid
the
of that
same.
one
We'll
later.
purge,
gotcha.
something.
Now, the city will be half this,
Well,
or 40,
yeah, I mean, I guess it's really gonna see where the insurance lands.
Right,
We'll have
that's
to
what I'm
purchase the
saying, but-
insurance will land, and then we'll have to work it out if there's overage or whatever.
Right,
We'll have
right,
to figure that out. I guess, Counselor, here's my question, and I'm good with doing all of this. I guess the first thing that has to happen is the fire chief needs to present this letter to the court. And then based on the fire chief's letter and recommendation, I can declare an emergency to exist. I can draft an emergency declaration.
Do you do it, or is the fiscal court declare an emergency?
Well, I'm good with either way. Honestly, I'm good if the court votes to do it. But I think technically, under the KRS, the county judge can declare an emergency, a state of an emergency, just declare it.
You can declare a state of emergency, but I'm not so sure as far as, procuring something like this. I don't disagree with what
Okay.
you're saying, but I think for clarity and cleanliness and someone looking at it down the road, I think it might be better to have the fiscal court in this instance, because you're spending a lot of money.
Agreed.
And so that way, if the fiscal court declares an emergency and authorizes, then you can do a separate motion to authorize however you want to bid at the level. That would be my.
So what we need to do first initially is, based on the chief's letter and recommendation, we need a vote that an emergency exists to procure a fire truck.
So moved.
We had a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Jeffrey, and we have the letter,
And it says this is an emergency, I need a truck.
pretty much.
Well, if you did the laundry list, or the recipe list that Ornstein gave you,
Yeah.
that ought to be enough.
Yeah. What he said, what he requested, what he said needed to be in this letter was the lead time on getting a new truck, how many road miles we're servicing in the county, and how this would impact us in a negative manner if there were multiple calls.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. I don't see that. I think it's just a matter of jumping through the right hoops. No one's going to question that it's an actual emergency.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
I think
jumping
we're
through the
good
right
here. We
hoops.
have a motion by Marty, a second by Jeffrey. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
I should have asked for discussion, but I'm sorry. All right, so now the next thing would be, we need to establish an up to dollar amount or a not to exceed dollar amount to authorize the chief to pursue one of these two vehicles, or maybe beyond if neither of these work out.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think Marty has
So,
a good
yeah,
point.
I
there.
agree. I think to Marty's point, we can kill two birds with one stone. If you guys want to set an amount, and then,
I think
that gives me an
amount should be
opportunity.
125.
What amount do you think would, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Marty suggested 125. Where do you feel on that?
Well, I mean,
12% going to add on, is that?
well, that was on the buyer's premium, so if we don't,
Well, the one in Alabama, you said it's 129?
Yeah, so the 125, I mean, if the
Maybe
one in,
150.
let's say we're bidding and it goes for 140, and I thought, hey, this one in Alabama's a good deal at 129, I'm still gonna have to come back, because we just set it at 125.
That's just the price on that truck, it's not,
I'd say you
it's the
call it
auction price.
But I'm saying, yeah, I mean, we've not negotiated. Listen, all I did was call and just, and try to find 4 or 5 comparables, and just said, hey, and he's like, yeah, here's where we're at on it.
But if
I've
one
not
pops up
negotiated.
like you already had, you'll possibly go after it instead
If I can
of
find one that,
comparable
yes.
to what you,
Well, if we set that dollar amount at 125, and the one on the
That's
bid doesn't work, you call the guy back in Alabama and say, look, I'd like to come look at the truck, but the court's told me I've only got 125,000 to
I'd say
spend,
they
not a
would-
nickel more.
I'll tell him 115
Yeah,
when you start out. Don't tell him 125.
115. All right. So I guess you're gonna need a motion and a second.
we will need a motion and a second to establish a not to exceed dollar amount in seeking to replace the fire truck.
I move that dollar amount be 125.
We got a motion at 125,000.
Second.
Got a second by Scott. The motion by Marty, second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. All right, chief.
thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. If there's no other business to come before the court, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Got a motion by Scott,
Second.
second Marty. All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Eric, I'll